Wow, there is so much to go over. Venezuela is teetering on the edge, on the brink of a civil war as the opposition leader is being sought for arrest, and he's calling for a march that he will lead where he plans to be arrested, obviously catapulting himself into cult status to then counter the communist leader of the country who clearly stole the last election after the dear leader, Hugo Chavez, went up to the big Politburo in the sky. So we're going to be breaking all of that down today. We've got Chase imposes new capital controls on cash deposits. Remember, Chase started doing this for people transferring money out of the country last year, and then a bunch of other banks followed suit, and they tried to basically deny these were capital controls. Well, now you can't, after you, say run a cakewalk or, some type of event to raise money for charity, you can't just put it in an envelope under the account's number and go drop it in the bank. Like I did many times when I was a child. My dad or my mom, after some charity event, would go drop it in the local bank, the $100, $200, whatever they'd raised. Now you've got to come in and show an ID because you might be a money launderer. Meanwhile, they let the illegals get bank accounts without IDs on record. They let the big mega banks launder hundreds of billions of dollars a year conservatively here in the U.S. alone, all on record. But they're going to stop money laundering and everything. No, it's about tracking everything you do and controlling small business. That's why they're trying to shut down the lemonade stands, the bake sales. That's why they're harassing anybody that, tries to have a co-op where you work with a farmer to have cows for you that he takes care of, that then he butchers for you so you get your own fresh organic meat, and it turns out being cheaper than the stuff you buy at the store. They don't want that type of economy being rediscovered. They want you to only buy out of their big box stores. So we're going to be breaking that down as well. Oliver Stone has come out over the weekend. Paul Watson wrote an article at Infowars.com. It's on DrudgeReport.com as well. Oliver Stone, Obama's lack of spine is stunning. Leftist filmmaker Oliver Stone slammed President Barack Obama during an event this past week, accusing Obama of selling out as soon as he got into office, exhibiting a stunning lack of spine. He previously called him a snake. And by the way, whenever I say that most of Hollywood is awake, most Hollywood people I talk to know about the New World Order, know about global governance, know about eugenicists, know about the real system, because they're smart people. And they don't want to be liberal and they don't want to be conservative. They just want to be pro-liberty. They're more libertarian. And by the way, Oliver Stone was speaking at a libertarian conference put on by the Future of Freedom Foundation. So there's an example right there. That's why the libertarians are exploding, because there are people on the left and the right who are getting outside those labels and just saying, you know what? I want local control. I want transparency. I don't want offshore corporate directives running my life. And the left is starting to figure out that big corporations have been financing big government the whole time, not as some empowerment mechanism, but as a monopoly mechanism. There's been a pipe bomb discovered in carry-on luggage at Anchorage Airport. TSA agents found what Ted Stevens Anchorage International Airport police have described as a pipe bomb in a carry-on luggage of a man ticketed on an oil worker flight to North Slope Sunday, forcing an hour shutdown of the security checkpoint. The man initially claimed the small explosive was a avalanche device, said Jesse Davis, chief of the airport police and fire department. I don't know of any avalanche dangers up there on the North Slope, he said. The FBI is interviewing the man whose name has not yet been released. Police downplayed the incident, saying the public was never in danger and the pipe bomb appeared to lack any triggering device. No motive is yet known. I just know the criminology. Most of the time, if it's not a staged attack, it is people that have a fetish of seeing if they could sneak something through airport security. I've just seen this over and over again. I love firefighters. They're great people on average and are wonderful folks. But the police know, and you can look this up, that most of the time when a pipe bomb is found or if there's a suspicious fire that some volunteer firefighter shows up at first, that in many cases, it's a very small minority, but still that minority is responsible for a lot of the arson and a lot of the pipe bomb activity. And I just saw this over the last 18, 19 years on air, that so many times you'd hear about a firefighter getting busted planting a pipe bomb that was inert and then finding the pipe bomb and defusing it and being a hero. They've caught police bomb squad people doing the same thing. Can you imagine being on a bomb squad and never having any real bombs to dismantle? And millions are spent in every major city per year with all these robots and the rest of it. So a lot of times the very people who you would expect to be out there trying to stop something are the ones behind it. I mean, I don't know what's behind that. I'm just simply speculating on that whole situation. And I tell you, it's finally starting to hit mainstream news. I mentioned some of this yesterday, and it really is sad. And it's what the whole MSNBC culture has created. Total racial division for big city balkanization politics. Clarence Thomas came out last week and said when he was going to college in Georgia in the 60s, early 60s, that he ran into a fraction. I believe the quote was 1/10 of the uncomfortable race stuff that he runs into now, and that it's the left always pushing it and promoting it. And the so-called liberal media absolutely viciously attacked him for saying, quote, "My sadness is that we're probably today more race and difference conscious than I was in the 60s when I was at school. To my knowledge, I was the first black kid in Savannah, Georgia to go to a white school. Rarely did the issue of race come up," Thomas said. Now, name a day it doesn't come up. Differences in race, differences in sex, anybody doesn't look at you right, somebody says something, everybody is sensitive. If I had been as sensitive as that in the 1960s, I'd still be in Savannah. And he goes on with more quotes, basically repeating what he said earlier. And they came out and viciously attacked him. Meanwhile, it came out in two different articles yesterday. One of them a disabled vet, another one some guy going home at night, whites being beaten up in Cleveland and many other areas and being told on video, because the gangs shoot the video, beat up that cracker, take his money. And you see the racial attacks in Austin that happen almost every day that I see it in the news every week. So guaranteed it's going on every day. I talk to folks that live downtown. They say it's epidemic. And it's predominantly black males, young black males, going out and beating up hippies that they see are defenseless and weak. And I guess a nation of sheep will be ruled by wolves. But that's what's going on. Now we have a mob of black kids terrorizing Victoria's Secret shoppers. And that's being reported on. I mean, this is really becoming a serious situation, and this was not going on 6 years ago. This was not going on. I mean, this is very rare to have this type of stuff, and it's racially motivated, and it's just like the Klan going out and rolling some black guy coming out of his business at night. And why would racist white groups go target people? Well, because, they're a bad group, so they don't deserve freedom. Let's go beat them up. It's the same thing with rolling gay people. The term rolling that went on for 50 years in this country. If young fraternity guys or whatever wanted to go steal somebody's wallet and get some money for beer, well, they're good Christian men, so they wouldn't beat up just a regular person and take their money. They would go find two guys coming out of a gay bar and beat them half to death and then take their money, because it was seen as culturally acceptable to do that. Well, it's not culturally acceptable to beat up a white person, a black person, a gay person, a straight person, a old person, a young person, just because, I see cases where people get beat up for the sports team they're wearing. One time in college, I walked into a bar with a black football hat cap. I can't remember even what the symbol was. And they came over and said, "You can't wear that hat." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Don't ask, or we're going to throw you out." And I said, "Okay, I'll take it off." Thug bouncers. And I was there with some dates. And I went over later and I said, "Really? I just want to know why." And he went, "Because it's gang related. That's a gang hat." And who knows, it might have been. I just didn't know. This shows how mindless all of this is. And it's completely out of control. But here's the story right here. Black mobs terrorize Victoria's Secret shoppers. This is from WorldNet Daily. It was also in the Associated Press. And it goes on. Some were surprised to hear about the black mob violence on Valentine's Day, Victoria's Secret in Norfolk, Virginia. Not at the violence. The gallery at Military Circle has been the site of dozens of episodes of racial lawlessness over the last 2 years, but of which has gone unreported in the local paper. The surprise is that the mall is still open. Most of its major tenants are gone or leaving. Sears, JCPenney, the nearly DoubleTree also closed. The big draw there is the movie theater with cheap tickets. More than 25% of the space is vacant. Deadmalls.com says the mall is a zombie that is really dead but just acts alive. The latest example of black mob violence came on Valentine's Day as a large group of people fought in Victoria's Secret store. One guy pulled out a gun and shot someone in the leg. In urban lingo, shooting someone in the leg is called leg warming. It is often a warning about comparing with police or selling drugs or competing with them in someone else's territory or even refusing to give someone a pit bull puppy. And it just goes on from there. And this may be mainly, gang type stuff, but it's really getting bad and it needs to stop. The sucker punching of white people that's killing some folks. I mean, it's wrong. But MSNBC, they're basically behind it. Alex Jones here with a message to fellow freedom lovers. The prognosis for the entire planetary economic system runs from bad to worse. The globalist model is to shut down societies and starve patriots out until they acquiesce to the global takeover. That's why we've assembled the most vital and important preparedness items at InfoWarsShop.com. These are items that I did research on, that I personally use. We've got the Life Straw, so you can turn fetid water into safe water anywhere you go. The K-Tor hand crank generator to charge up key equipment during power outages or out in the field. Strategic Relocation, 3rd edition by Joel Skousen. When Disaster Strikes by Matthew Stein. ThyroSafe, used by Homeland Security to protect yourself during any radiological event. Hand crank shortwave AM/FM radios. Everything that we've researched and found to be the best is available at InfoWarsShop.com, and your purchase makes our InfoWar possible. We're getting prepared. Are you? InfoWarsShop.com.